My wife calls me a zealot. I don't deny that. Or an atheist missionary. An atheist missionary. So that's all right. I guess Ashley and I are here to demonstrate the missionary position for the day. Okay, stick to the script. Stick to the script. Reason number 7, while we're approaching a golden age of atheism, is this is to me the most important. We're less tolerant of discrimination against gays and women and African Americans. Now, 50 years ago, African Americans weren't allowed to eat in the same restaurants as white people. I mean, to me, that I can't conceive of that. I know it happened. I've seen video of it. I've read history books. But the church, the Protestant church, was the last group to stop fighting against slavery. But there's not a whole lot in the Bible about slavery, except where the Israelites were kept captive. But the Protestant church, for the most part, is rabidly anti-gay. That this is an abomination. You're going to burn in the fires of hell if you're gay. And so people are reaching a point when they're fighting back. They're saying, "Fuck you. We're going to do what we want to do. And I don't care what your holy book says. We're not going to take this bullshit anymore." Of course, gays and lesbians should be allowed to marry. Of course they should be. That's a non-issue with me. And women, of course, were subordinate in the Bible. Notice all of Jesus' alleged apostles were male, and women didn't come across too well in the Bible. And women, to this day, are not allowed to be Catholic priests. And according to the Apostle Paul in the New Testament, women are not allowed to speak in church. But we ignore those verses, don't we? We ignore them. We pick and choose what we want to read, and we ignore the rest. And so we progress to a point, very positively, where we want equality for our African American friends and neighbors, for our gay and lesbian friends and neighbors, and of course for women, who are a majority of the population. And so that is a reason that we're casting aside at least a literal interpretation of the Bible. Okay. Reason 8 why we're about to enter a golden age of atheism is that the rise of Muslim fundamentalism provides a perfect parallel to the rise of Christian fundamentalism. Like, we look at the lunacy in the Middle East and we think, man, those dumbass people blowing themselves up. They're fighting over an ancient holy book. They're fanatics. They're extremists. They're believing in things that don't exist. And to some people, I think it's starting to dawn on them that we're the same way. We're exactly the same way. You say, well, David, we don't strap on suicide jackets and blow up other people. We don't now. We don't at this moment. But for about 1,500 years, the Catholic Church systematically operated torture chambers throughout Europe and killed infinitely more people than the Islamic Jihad or Hezbollah or Al-Qaeda. And so Christianity has progressed to some degree that way. I will give it credit. It's not burning witches anymore. But that's really because our founding fathers were secularists. If it weren't for that, if it weren't for the genius of James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, that had an essentially secular constitution, if that hadn't happened, they'd still be burning witches. And as an aside, by the way, if people always ask me, what's the best argument against evolution? We always hear, well, this is what's for evolution. What's the best argument against evolution? And it's this, that we started our country with presidents of the ability of Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and now we have George W. Bush. If that doesn't refute evolution, I don't know what would. I really don't. But, so we have this perfect parallel between the Muslim nuts and the Christian nuts. And the Christian nuts are a little bit more advanced because they're not blowing themselves up or killing a lot of people, but they used to. They used to. And they still would if they could get away. Reason 9 why I think we are approaching a golden age of atheism is that seeking higher education. Now, I don't want to stand here and say that atheists are smarter than Christians. I'm not going to say that, even though we know it's true, don't we? I'm not going to say that. I'll just cite a few statistics. The National Academy of Sciences is the most prestigious organization of scientists in this country. You have to be invited. You're not a member, if you teach biology at Polecat Elementary School in West Virginia, you're not there. These are people like Asimov, Sagan, people that really think with some pizzazz. How many members of the National Academy of Sciences, what percentage of them believe in God? And in any form, in any way you want to define God? The answer is 7%. 7% believe in even the Einsteinian pantheistic God, which of course has been a source of much email that I get, believe me. But 7% believed in any kind of a God at all. And the number who accepted the theories of intelligent design or creation science, I don't even think it reached 1%, and so they didn't include that in the statistics that I saw. But education, and I'm not any PhD from anywhere. I don't mean to stand here and say I'm some towering intellectual. You can read my book and you can like it or not like it. That's up to you. But education exposes you to a variety of ideas. And I started this little talk by saying that, when I was growing up and when most people were growing up, you didn't hear any opposing views about religion. You just heard one viewpoint. But education exposes you to the ideas that, okay, we've got Islam, okay, we've got Hinduism, we've got the Greek myths and so forth and so on. And it dawns on people that maybe there is another way to look at things. And I think that as the economy progresses and higher education becomes more and more necessary for the jobs that haven't been sent to India, that will help the cause of atheism.